Good morning. Grace and peace to you from God our Father and our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. If you read the gospel like we did this morning, you will see that this gospel is not perhaps easy to understand in some ways, especially as we go day by day in our own lives. So this morning I'm going to try to create a sense of understanding what exactly this gospel is all about. One of the things that attracted me as Jesus established this conversation with this man is that Jesus then asked him, "What is your name?" He said, "Legion." For many demons had entering him, according to Luke and the gospel. His name is Legion. We don't know exactly the name of this man, but according to the gospel this morning, we're going to call him Legion. He called himself Legion, but that is not his real name. That is not who he is. It is mostly what has happened to him, what really took place in this man's life at one point in his life. I believe that there are some names that are difficult to pronounce. For example, Eliezer. Yeah. And it happens to me like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I repeated this again. I went to Chick-fil-A, that's right through, and I love Chick-fil-A, by the way. And as I was going through the line, driving through, and this wonderful young person say, after he took my order, I said, "May I have your name, please?" You know how they ask you for your name? I don't know why, but they wanted your name. And I said, "Eliezer." Silence. Can you repeat that, please? Eliezer. Okay. So I went and I paid, and I did it a few days ago. I went back to the same place. It's not too far from my house, by the way. And I went through the line and so on. And when the young person again asked, "May I have your name, please?" I say, "Daniel." That was my name for the day. And the thing is, when I drove through to pay him, I had to use my debit card. And I thought to myself, now, if this young man sees that my name is Eliezer, he's going to say that I'm lying to him. And I felt so guilty. And I took my food and I went home and repent. That was not my name. My name is Eliezer. Daniel Eliezer. In today's gospel, this man called himself Legion. But indeed, this is not who he is. This is not his name. This is what has become of him, what happens to him. Something has changed in his life, in the life of this man. This can be a reality perhaps for all of us, to all of us. And times when things will come to us in one way or another in our own lives, sometimes we wonder, who exactly am I? Where in the world, what's taking place in my life that has changed even my name, and I cannot even recognize? So his name is Legion. And according to what I read in reference to this particular understanding, Legion refers to a Roman army unit of about 6,000 soldiers. 6,000 men form a legion in the Roman Empire army. So when this man says that he is Legion, he is saying, I have been overrun. I am divided. I am separated. I am overwhelmed. My life is broken into perhaps 6,000 pieces. This man is lost to himself. He has no idea of where he was or who he was. He no longer understands who he is. He is without a name. And he finds himself being exposed. No clothes. He's no longer living in a house in the city, but he lives in the tombs and the cemeteries. Somehow he is dead to himself. There is time when we lose our bearings and, in life and no longer know who we are or what life is all about. Sometimes we wonder if we are going crazy for any reason. It is a place and sometimes a sense of separation and loneliness and disconnectedness that we have in our lives, and we don't know how to handle it. And we know we are living under the factor of certain separation, but we don't know how to cope with this or where to go with this. Do you know that loneliness in this country is killing people like you and I believe? And the fact and some reality is that loneliness is so harsh that even when the person you think is doing well, connecting with families and friends and so on, that person is still lonely. They don't know who they are. Among their own families and all the people that care for them, they don't know who they are. And I don't want to argue that perhaps they are evil possessed. That's my understanding. But sometimes we feel like that we do have certain possessions. That we are so cut out in the sense of not having an idea, of no longer understand who we are. That, wow, how can we claim that? Sometimes we have lost the importance of the factor of who we are in relation to others. I don't know why it's part of in your own life, there's terms that we use that sometimes we don't even know how to handle ourselves or somebody else. In all these, my brothers and sisters, Jesus stepped out into a lane of the foreign. He comes in and he leaves Galilee, not too far from where he is, and he is perhaps observing the opportunity to go into this place because there are people who will need me. And it's very strange to see that foreign country that he's taken and go to the place what we call the lane of the legion. And he comes in. He's the presence, to me, he is the presence of unity, wholeness, and integration. And to me, legion holds not power over Jesus. So here he comes, and when he met this man, they come to him. When the man saw Jesus, according to Luke, he fell down before him and shouted at the top of his voice, "What have you wanted to do with us, Son of the Most High God?" Even the demons recognize who Jesus is. And it seems to me that this man knew who Jesus was, even though they weren't even connecting geographically. They are separated by a factor of life. But Jesus comes in and he establishes a sense of understanding. And he cried to Jesus and said, "What are you about to do with me?" I don't know who's speaking here. But apparently, Legion is doing this conversation. He recognized who Jesus is. the divine one, the one who saves, the one who is whole, the one who is complete, the one who is holy, the one who is about to save him, the one who is about to renew him, the one who is about to do something about him and transform him and bring him to the place that he will understand who he is and who Jesus is. Jesus comes to the man seeing and knowing a truth about him. Jesus knows very well who this man is. He has been shackled. He has been put aside. He's not allowed to go into society. He doesn't have to go where to go to sleep. He don't have a place. He don't have a home. He don't have no friends, no family. He's ready to put away himself. And here comes Jesus. And he brings who he is. You are my son. You are a dear to me. The devil cannot take you away from me. That's what Jesus is always. He is the one who overcomes legions, and he gives you a different name. He gives this man a new sense of who he was, a new understanding that a new reality has come to him. He ultimately giving this man an identity, a reality, because that's who Jesus is always. Legion cannot never overcome the power of Jesus. Legion can ever never be our final reality, my brothers and sisters, or our ultimate identity. That will be always Jesus. The truth that commands Legion to leave this man alone. That is the truth that puts life together for this man. That's the truth that puts life together for all of us. That's the truth that clothed this man with a new sense of honesty. Return to himself and receive him to his fellowship and place him at his feet to worship him. I'm not Legion. My name is Eliezer. We need to tell that to the world because others need to hear this. This man came to Jesus and he was transformed to the point that when Jesus was sleeping, he wanted to be with Jesus. He played with Jesus. I wanted to be with you. And Jesus said, no, it is important for you to return to your home and declare how much God has done for you. And declare how much God has freed you from your abandonment. Others need to listen to that. I don't know where you are today in your own life, but I believe that Jesus Christ came to this world to free you from your sin and to bring you to the point where you can say, I am special before God, regardless of my own personal circumstances, my own personal separations, my own dynamics of misunderstanding. I don't know who my name is anymore. I switched my name, but no, Jesus is still being Jesus. And nothing is going to change that. Thanks be to God. Amen.